Hi, hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back if this is your first time. So today's video is going to be a little different. As you can see from the obviously to be in the title, I am going to be reading the Hunger Games for the first time. I have only watched the movies. I've never read the books. Um, so yeah, I decided why not vlog. So basically, when I was much younger, I never read any of the very popular books like the Twilight or the Divergent or Hunger Games, Maze Runner, all of that. Instead, I was reading simplified versions of the classics. So a lot of the staples of the teen teen YA dystopian phase I haven't read, but I really did enjoy the Hunger Game movies. So I'm going to read the Hunger Games. It is currently like 3 a.m. 2:50. I have my popcorn and I'm going to be taking out my braids because these braids are very, very old. So, yeah, I'm going to be making my hair. Also, very random question, but do you guys put sugar on your popcorn? Because this is powdered sugar. Apparently, that's not normal, but in back home, before I came here to study, back home in Nigeria, sugar on popcorn is normal. But when I came here to Hungary, everybody said it's weird. So I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I like sugar on my popcorn. I think it makes it taste good. Anyway, so what are my thoughts? Currently, I actually already started reading it before. I started today, but I've already read a couple. I think already not to be that person who's always like the books are always better, but I will say having some extra information um regarding the reaping, like just how almost the 1 in a million chance that Prim gets picked, is very very sad. I actually teared up at the reaping and the reaping scene. It was genuinely so sad. I just like even with Katniss and her dad and her mom. I don't know. Like obviously the movies can't take everything into the books, but there's so much already that I'm just like, damn. And it made the reaping so much more emotional, just having some extra information. So yeah, this is the intro of the video. I'm going to be taking my braids out and yeah, okay. I guess I will catch up when I've made some progress and I'll let you know my thoughts. Okay, bye. Well, hi guys. As you can see, time has passed because I'm looking a bit crazy. I have made significant progress in my hair and I am about, let's say, halfway through. What are the updates? It's funny because I've obviously, like I said, I've watched the movies before, but I still find myself being really like tense. Like obviously I know the outcomes, like oh who's going to die or who's not going to die, but still I still find myself being so tense. I'm like and actually being stressed. I'm also so invested and just the I guess having Katniss's Katniss's inner thoughts as well. Just having her narration and following her narration, I don't know, just really like elevates the story. Obviously, I know that the film is a different medium, and of course, they can't capture the characters in our thoughts, but it's making such a difference, and even just the depth of all the characters. And also, Peter has so much more. Like I feel like Peter was actually done dirty in the movies because he has such personality. He's personable, he's likable, even in the, but I feel like it's not really shown as much as in the movies. Also, Haymitch is like so much more not useless, but just I don't even know the word to describe him. Like they literally have to force him to take them seriously, which is crazy. But yeah, and even Katniss and Sina's relationship is so cute. And even like Katniss, like the way she like distrusts people, obviously because of how she grew up, her relationship with her mom, and she's just such a complex character. I'm not saying that the movies don't show that, but she's so much more of a complex character. Again, not to be that very basic person. I'll be like, the punks are so much better, but I don't know. It just adds so much. Obviously, again, I know a film they can only do so much, but there's just so much to yeah. And where I am currently, where we through, excuse me, if you know, you know, I'm bracing myself. I think I might cry even though I watched the movie and I know it's going to happen. I'm just like, ah, no, don't do it yet. Anyway, also, Katniss and Peter's dynamic is so much more interesting in the books. All this to say is that I'm really enjoying myself so far. And it's really good. And it's so compulsively readable. I don't know. I thought that because I knew the story ahead, I wouldn't want to. But it actually is. Anyway, that's the update. I also need to go to bed soon because it's quite late. And hopefully, by the time I check in, I should be done with all this and have washed my hair. Okay, bye. It's time for another reading update. Remember how I said last time that I was 100% going to go to bed? So I did not do that. So actually, what really happened is I stayed up until a very late time and I finished it. So yeah, and as you can see, time has passed because I finally finished my hair. I haven't washed it yet, but yes. So the reading update. I like I said, I stayed up late to finish it, so that tells you everything I need to know. But like, I don't know, I'm so surprised that I'm so invested, even though I already knew everything that was going to happen. I don't know why I didn't think that was going to happen, but anyway, yeah, was definitely heart wrenching. I didn't cry though at the place I thought I would cry, but it was emotional. It was emotional, and like Peter, I just feel I'm going to watch the movies today because I just feel like we were robbed. He's so much more witty and more like he has this dry humor about him, and he's likable and he's liked by. I didn't know that. Also, his heartbreak it's so sad, and I just love having Katniss's narration throughout the whole story. I mean, I don't know if I should say I don't know because it's such a popular one of those stories. I don't feel like talking about it. I feel like I can't spoil it, but still, it doesn't matter. Just in case, so I will not, even though. But yeah, and like I just like the little details that are given that make the capital so much more insidious. And Katniss just trying to survive, and how everything has to be a game and nothing is even real. And yeah, it was so good. That's really all I have to say. It was good. It was yeah. I mean, it's so obvious why it was very popular, and it's so compulsively readable. I didn't want to stop reading. I just kept telling myself, one more chapter. And then finally it was like, well, I'm almost done. I need to losing my hair anyway. So yeah, it was really good. If you haven't read it, I think you should. I think the while the movies are good, I'm going to watch them because I've watched the second one recently, but I haven't watched the first one in a while. I just want to refresh my memory and see and compare. But there's so much more depth and so much more details. Like I said, even for like the reaping, where it made it so much more emotional, just how unlikely it was for Prim to be picked, and even like Katniss sacrificing herself, not something that was very common, and just yeah, even and the relationship that's from. Also, Haymitch is such a wretch. Such a just like an alcoholic. Not that that's not shown in the movies, but in the books, it's like way worse. So yeah, that's all I have to say. And I love Peter so much. Gail is just alright, but yeah. Anyway, that's a really update. I will be starting Catch a Fire soon. I have to go. What I want to do again? My brain. Anyway, so we have the secondhand market, and I'm selling two books today. I'm so excited. Let me show you. do do do. So I have one of these books. I got a better copy, a fancier edition. I'm obsessed with special editions. I'm using my Illumicrate packages. Might as well put them to use. Anyway, so I'm selling two books. I have to go post them. So that's what I'm going to do now. On the way, I will most likely Start Catching Fire. Maybe I'll show a clip of me starting on the way to drop off the items. Yeah, by the next update, I should have washed my hair and I'll give you some thoughts, my preliminary thoughts on Catching Fire. Okay, bye. Friends, hello. As you can see, I have washed my hair. It's always a very traumatizing experience for me. I hate it. It's like the worst thing in the world. As you can see, I always look like I've gone through so much because my eyes are so red. Anyway, so I need to put my hair into tiny braids because if not, it'll be really dry and then it'll be very hard to maintain. And so I'm going to be watching. Wait.
Where is it? Sorry. I'm gonna be watching the movies and do a comprehensive, I want to see the differences between them because it has been a while since I've watched it. And see if they were able to translate everything like I've been talking about. Anyway, so that's what I'm gonna be doing now. Okay, bye. I just Hi guys. So the next couple of clips you're going to be seeing are of me baking a chocolate cake. Why? Because I can. Anyway, yeah. So enjoy. I thought that would be like a good interlude. So yeah, I will put up the recipe in the description. So if you're interested. Okay. Bye.
Hi guys. Um, so well, it hasn't been that long, but anyway, it is time for an update, and I made a list of things to talk about because there's quite a lot. First, again, not to be that person. So I watched the movies after. I think I showed why I watched the movies after, and while the movies tried, I just think Katniss's again narration cannot be beat. Although I think the movies did try to show quite a lot of information. To be fair, because we don't have Katniss's narration telling us about the world, so they had to use other ways. For example, mm, is this a spoiler? No, it's not okay. For example, you have to give people can put their names more than once in the reaping during the reaping in the bowl, and so they just mention it offhand, and she mentions it to Prim like, "Oh, your name is only there once." Not, but obviously, if you read the book, you know that the older you get, the more times your name is put into the bowl to be picked, and things like I remember there was one scene where Katniss with the tracker Jays, and then they used that scene to show what happened to Katniss's father. I thought that was actually quite like intelligent, and just like in conversation, they would just throw things there, but still just having the world it's so much more detailed. I guess they could do only so much, and even with the games in the movies as well, um it's quite shorter. Almost not like it felt rushed, but it's quite shorter because I think there's a whole section of the in the book where Katniss almost dies from dehydration, and they took that out. I guess this is kind of spoiler, but it's not really super spoiler. Anyway, so they take that out, and I don't know, like reading the book, the games are just so much more intense, and then watching the movie, it's just like, it's not as it's not as intense. I know I'm just complaining, but I think the first movie really does it does try to keep. Again, I just think the movie it surpasses maybe Katniss and Peter's relationship developing. I think it kind of suffers in the book, and as well as Peter's personality is not shown as much. And I think I made it. I was like, where's Peter's dry humor? And I think that is necessary, especially for the end, to see why Katniss would do that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, also the avoxes, I don't know what they are called. They are these people who are basically punished by the capital. Maybe they were traitors or something, and they have their tongues cut out. I guess they couldn't put them in the movies. I don't know if they'll make a. I don't think. I feel like because when I was reading, it just feels like everything was very, very intentional. Like nothing was written down that would not come back and have an effect later. And so I'm sure that them being mentioned will probably have a greater part in the novels, although they're not mentioned in the movies. I guess they had to cut them out because there's only so much that they could put. But they're really interesting. And I think in the books, I just you get a bigger sense of how cruel the capital is, especially with and the people of the capital as well. I guess we don't really see that in the movie, but in the books, you have Katniss's team, the people who help her like get ready for the interviews and stuff, and how just so shallow and vain. And in the capital, they're so obsessed with following trends, and even with how Katniss's Mockingjay pin becomes a trend, and they're always chasing the next high and being, you know, modifying themselves in order to follow because they're so jobless. But they have everything to cater for, so they are so bored, and just the consumerism, yes, of the capital. And I guess that's a critique on our current society. And to be honest, I think it's still very valid even for today, to be honest. And I thought that was really interesting and really cool. I mean, I guess you see that in the movies. I didn't even mention where I am. So I'm currently like halfway through Catching Fire as well. So the Quatraquel. I think I've already started spoiling, to be honest, and I just think I'll go to continue. I mean, anyway, um, yeah. What other things, like even like in the movies as well? I don't know, because I'm obviously comparing because I watched the movies first, so that's where like all this is coming from. Before I read the books, and Haymitch is not so much as the raging alcoholic in the movies as in the books. Like in the book, he's barely functional, barely functional. I mean, obviously, he has when he's sober and everything, but he's barely functional. And I think it really like explores like his trauma and how he's like even though it's been so long since his games, but he's still so traumatized and like he has turned to alcohol as a coping mechanism. Like it's so bad to the point where Katniss and Pete have to buy alcohol to keep for him so that it's really it's really and another thing in the movies, I mean in the movies it's kind of hinted that obviously Katniss has a strained relationship with her mom, but in the books it's really more explained. And it's not just like black and white because obviously after in the movie Katniss's dad dies, her mom basically goes into a depression, and then Katniss has to basically be the one to, um, you know, she has to be the one to take care of the family, and obviously she's gained a lot of resentment for that. But then at the same time, she understands that her mom had a depression, but she's still angry, and I just really liked that where like it acknowledged that yes, what her mom went through, obviously is really bad. It's not like truly her mom's fault, but Katniss had the right to be angry as well and to feel betrayed and be resentful of her mom. I I really liked that as well. And we will see how Katniss has like entered survival mode. She's like constantly like she doesn't even like think of anything that just how not I don't say damage. I think so, yes, as a character and how she's just trying to survive and she can't think of anything else. And just having an inner narration again, it just makes her so much more interesting. I think it really adds to the story. And we see how because of the way she's just trying to survive, she can't trust anybody, and we see how that bleeds into how she looks at everyone and everything. And I just thought that I was really, really well done. Yeah, and just especially again, like I said, like our team really reflecting just how shallow and vain the capital is, and even the way they've just been able to turn their minds from the horrifying nature of the games, and they don't see them as like people, just things to be entertained by. I thought, yeah, I think that's it, to be honest. Oh, and also I think so. This obviously can be shown in the movies, but in the almost at the end, the wolves at the end of the actual of the Hunger Games, and the fact that the wolves are basically made from like the body parts, I think, of the previous dead tributes. I think that was very haunting, just very cruel. Just like, to show how just wicked and awful like the capital is. Like the capital is truly, truly atrocious. President is a horrible, horrible person. And yeah, and as for Catching Fire, love Katniss, love Peter. I absolutely adore Peter. I think he's like almost my favorite character now. I really like Katniss and Peter. Also, in the movies, I'm going to watch the movie again after this because I need to compare. I just feel we really don't see how Katniss kind of warms up the idea to revolution, warms up to the idea of revolution. Like in the book, she's fully, well, there's no like greater plan ahead, but she's very much for, and we see her go from wanting to survive to, finding that there's something bigger than herself, because obviously, she's been made into, she's the cis spark for the rebellion, but at first she's just really trying to survive and put her head down and not trying to like, exist anything. But then we see her gradually transform from being in that mood and trying, to suppress everything to finally realizing that, oh yeah, I'm kind of for this, and things can't continue to go on this way. And I really like, yes, her thought process, and we see her go from there to there, and obviously the Kotakwell as well, and the other victors being angry, and yeah, I just I'm really enjoying it so far. I feel if I had read this when I was younger, I don't like I would have enjoyed this because it's quite fast paced as well. Like something is always happening, but just yeah, I think it will forever stand the test of time, to be honest. And now I am there are these special editions that came out. I'm going to get them 100% for sure. Any special edition, like I'm truly truly obsessed. Like oh, they're so good. Anyway, if you haven't read I just feel watching the movies is fine, but the books add so much. I think, and yeah, we should all everybody should read the books if you haven't read the books yet and you've only watched the movies. I think the books are a must read. Okay, I will update you when I finish Catching Fire, I guess, and then on to Mockingjay. Oh, and I also want to read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So yeah, there's still a lot more in this block to come. Block to come. Okay, fine. One more thing before I say bye bye. I just remembered. Also, I just like the fact that how Katniss is so much in survival mode and not even like really cognizant of things around her. She doesn't even realize that she has a friend. There's a character, Madge, in this book who's basically Katniss's friend, but Katniss doesn't even understand that she has a friend because she's so honed on survival and just on herself and trying to in this horrible, horrible situation. And even with the thing with her mom as well, how because of the way their society is, they didn't even have like anybody to rely on. Because obviously, in such a time, there'd be people to like fall back on and help out. But Katniss had to, shove everything and keep quiet because she spoke, she and her sister would be sent to some home or something, and it's just really, really tragic and just how awful life in the districts are. And yeah, okay, bye. Actually, now. Hi, friends. So it's time for another reading update. I have finished Mockingjay. Wow, that book it was definitely very, very very bleak, very almost depressing. I think I checked some reviews because I was very curious how people were feeling because when I read it, I mean I liked it for sure. I did like it, but I think out of all the books, Mockingjay is the most divisive, and it seems like not a lot of people really like it. I like it, but I think it was definitely a very bleak book, very focused on this reality of war, and I think so. I'll talk about a couple of things I noticed. I think people didn't like I checked, and there were lots of character deaths. I think in this book, and they were kind of very brushed over. To be fair, but I think maybe that was just to show that I guess sometimes in war. I think she was going for realism, like in war, because you're going like fast pace. You may not really have time to sit down and to reflect on what happens. Katniss actually goes through so much. So the how it ends for Katniss, I think after going through the books, honestly, I think that I like her ending. Okay, there's one aspect of it. I don't know. I'm just not going to talk about. There is one aspect that I think was when I read it, I was like, because so something in her future happens, but she's said it specifically in the books that this is not something that she would ever want to happen because she's afraid of the games. But then I think because the games in the obviously revolution, so the games are cancelled. So I think maybe that's why that thing she allows it to happen. But even it's mentioned that she didn't want it. I don't know why I'm not saying spoilers. If you know, you know. But I'm just like, that part was because then she says that it takes a lot of convincing for her to do that thing. So I was just like,
I'm not sure, like, but I definitely, if anybody thought that, oh, like she was going to be this rebel, not like but girl boss or being actively involved, I think she goes through so much trauma that it makes sense for her to choose like a simple life, sort of, at the end. Yeah, or not like being this major leader. Also, I don't know if it's me that's confused, or maybe I'm reading it knowing because I've watched the movies and I know who she ends up with. It's like for me, I feel like it was very obvious. Not Yes, I think for me it showed that she would always end up with that person. So I don't know if I'm reading it wrong, but I always thought that it was very clear in their interaction, especially when it compared to the other person. I always thought that, oh, it was very clear. I don't know what I'm talking about. It like, just in case somebody still wants to read. I don't know, because I would. Well, anyway. So I was to me it read very obvious, and it did, but again, I think I could be, because I already know, because obviously I watch the movies, and so that colored my reflection. But still, I think even from the text, I don't know. Am I reading into it? I don't know. I think this was a very, but either way, apart from that, I think it was a very, very bleak depiction, and it was a very like heartbreaking, very sad, very, very sad. And Katniss is just like throughout this whole book, I think she's just been through it, so she's just so like apathetic and detached. And I guess maybe she's not particularly so. I mean, she still has like moments where you kind of cheer for her, but then she's just so detached and so just going through it, and really there's a lot of trauma. And even like in the epilogue, we still see that she's not over it because she's been through so very much. And so yeah, I don't know. I guess people dislike. I don't. Yeah, I actually I quite liked it. It was heart wrenching, but I quite liked it. It was very bleak and very grim, but I liked it. Yeah, she definitely went for like very distressing. It was so distressing. Like I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, oh damn, actually that was very hopeful, to be honest. Everybody was just really going through it. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's what to say that I really like Mockingjay. Now I'm going to start the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yeah, I'm a huge fan, like obsessed. Like obviously I like the movies very much, but yeah, if there are any special editions that come out, I will most likely buy them, because yeah, I think there are a couple. There are two coming out soon. They restocked, I think, the deluxe edition, and there's like another with another version of the first book, The Hunger Games, but with like art in it. And yeah, after, safe to say that I read this so fast, like I didn't even know they would go it was a very, very heart-wrenching. Like I was picking it up, I was thinking of it constantly. I didn't think that would happen because I already read the books, but yeah, all in all, like I think it definitely stands the test of time. I 100% think that yeah. I mean, I didn't really when I was much younger, but still, even now, I was so engaged, and even knowing what I knew, even knowing like the story, it still kept me fully engaged, and all the social commentary. And I think especially in the last book, we really she really discusses the line of how far is too far, like what actions are okay in a war. And I think, because I think her I'm not sure if I remember this correctly, but I know the author's, I think, father, Susan Collins' father, I think, was he in a war or something, or participated in one of the wars or something. But yeah, I think she really really see this question again, like what is just in a war? How far is too far? Where do we draw the line, cross the line? And I think that yeah, it was definitely an interesting and very heartbreaking read. And yeah, I 100% adore this trilogy. It feels like something that I could actually read again, because if I could enjoy it knowing, I'm sure if I went through it again, I'd probably still pick up new things, and there's so much more stuff to analyze. And I think that's why it really stands the test of time, because you see people reading it when they were much younger, and obviously maybe focus on like the romance or the love triangle or whatever, and then like people go on and seeing like the societal commentary and the critiques she was making of society. So yeah, it was great. All this rambling to say that I really enjoyed all three, and now I'm going to read the Ballad of Songbirds. I think let's go discover Snow's story. Okay, bye bye. Hello, hi guys. So we have come to the end of this vlog. I finally finished the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This took me a whole week. It took me forever, because spoiler alert, if you cannot tell, I really did not like this book. I really did not like it. Okay, so I guess I will talk about why I did not like it. So I know that this book had pretty mixed reviews, but I went into it liking it. Again, I've also watched the movie already, and well, the movie, I think what happens, obviously, like a movie, you can't have Snow's inner thoughts, and I think Snow's inner thoughts are very necessary for this story. But yeah, so I watched the movies. I remember watching the movies and being confused, like what's happening here. But anyway, I'll still talk about that later. I'm going to talk about why I did not like this book. Honestly, I'm not really sure I understand the point of this book. Not that a book has to have a point, or but okay, let me start. I'm going to articulate. I just finished reading it like right now, and I returned my thoughts. Okay, so pretty much from the beginning of the book, when we start, we see that Snow is a pretty much terrible person, and so we just go. I just spent like 480 how many pages of following these horrible characters, like this very obviously villainous, oppressive character. I'll just spend these pages in his head, only for me to end up at the point where I know he's going to end up at. Because obviously this is a prequel, and a prequel lacks a lot of tension because we already know how he's going to end up. And so, but it's not even like an arc where we see him start like maybe somewhere quote unquote good, and then he like goes, and then we see his slow decline into villainy. It's more of a straight line. He's horrible from the start. I mean, in the first, when he meets the tributes, he says he calls them others, or being a primitive bunch of people. So we start off not like, we already know he's not a good person, and then we just continue. So I didn't really see it because we just go, and then I honestly hated being in his head and following his inner thoughts and inner dialogue. It was very annoying. I had to keep, I couldn't like, I had to force myself to pick it up. Like, I really wanted it to be over. Another thing, also the question of whether or not he loved Lucy Gray, I think it's very obvious that he did it. I don't think that's an option. He loved Lucy Gray the same way I love my possessions. I like my books because, I mean, I like to read them and the story and the value that they give me. I also like having them as a collection. That's the same way he loved Lucy Gray. He only loved Lucy Gray as he literally, like, in the exactly having his inner thoughts again. Like, if you read the book, there's no humanizing him at all. Okay, I guess there are points where he does something good, but then even if he does something good, the next thought in his head is something that's just like, oh my god. Like, he refers to Lucy Gray so much as his possession, as his. There's even a line in the book where he literally says he misses being back in the capital with her, because when she was in the games, because at least he knew where she was. He's very jealous, he's very possessive, as she's his object. Another thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that I don't think he could have even loved that, because he had to, because obviously, okay, I'm in my thoughts, he sees the people from the districts as less than primitive animals, being savage, yeah. And in the book, we see how he makes a conscious effort to remove Lucy Gray, to describe her as not being district. So he has to, for him to even see her as a human being, or to even like fall in love with, he literally has to say she's not district. She is better than that. She is the outstanding one, the exception, and that's the only way he can even see her as somebody to even have feelings for. So I would care about all of that, and it just brings in his pure point of view. I mean, I guess the book does, let's bring up the question of, like, human nature. Are we all evil, or is there like innate goodness? And we see, especially in his discussions with Dr. Gall, who is, I guess, the completely like bad, and she thinks that all humans are inherently evil, and that I think this is reference some theory, because I see in the epigraphs where I think this is a philosophical idea that all humans are innately evil and we need control, and we see Snow basically follow that idea eventually, that we need control and we need a strict government in order to control this savage side of us. And then we see Sejanus and Lucy, who kind of think the opposite, think that people are good and this is not okay. And also there were like a lot of kind of callbacks that kind of made me roll my eyes, I'm not going to lie. Like, we see that in the book Snow really hates Mockingjays, and obviously Katniss is the symbol of the Mockingjay. She's the Mockingjay
that's the symbol of the resistance. And honestly, seeing that kind of made me roll my eyes. Even like Katniss, you know, swamp potato, but call her Katniss. And just adding like these extra connections and trying to, you know, really solidify why he would hate Katniss in the future. But it just felt like these were only put there just to reference the future. And so I was just reading and like, okay, cool. I guess that's fine. Even I guess the thing with the roses as well, why he wears roses because his grandma raised roses. It wasn't, yeah, he's just a horrible person from start to finish. So I didn't really, it wasn't a very compelling or interesting, you know, seeing his inner thoughts. He's kind of just following a straight line. I mean, yeah, I guess the nature thing, you know, he sees people, I guess, doing good, but he chooses to ignore that somewhat and focuses on when people, you know, do evil. Yeah, it wasn't a pleasant read at all. If you read the book, I don't think there's any point where, because I think a lot of people might watch the movie and think that what happens with Lucy Gray is when he becomes evil, that's not his breaking point. It's more like it's just literally seeing like the final act where he finally like, oh yeah, this is who you were already shown in his thoughts, but this is when you see who he really is. Because in the books, from his first inner thoughts, he's a selfish, the most self-serving character I've ever read. Truly the most self-serving character. And also as well in the books, there's kind of, it's like very much shown in your face. Like there's this line where it's like, oh, if he doesn't learn to curb his obsession with control, it will be the end of him. And it's kind of very like winking, like it's very in your face, like yes, this is going to be, you know. So it was kind of, I also found it to be so, again, I mentioned, very boring. Even the part with Lucy Gray's games, I mean, like I thought, okay, it would pick up then. For the majority of it, I was bored. Also, a lot of people complained in the movie that the third act was slow, was very rushed, because they cut quite a lot of scenes. But even the scenes that they cut out, I was reading them, I was just like, why am I here? Why am I? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then I guess again we see the idea of nature versus nurture, but then I guess inherently in his nature, and then also nurture, both of them combined and make him a villain. I don't know. I don't really see, not necessarily the points, but I guess the exploration of nature and the inherent, even like humanity, whether humanity is inherently good or inherently evil. I guess I noticed that some of that was interesting, but even just yeah, and I guess Tigris was an somewhat interesting character. Even Tigris is kind, but and I think maybe the idea, because Snow, you know, obviously like he goes through a lot, obviously in the war and stuff, but even though both he and Tigris go through that, you can even argue Tigris, why the case Tigris goes through, I think, much more, because we see not throughout, but we get hints of things that she might have done even worse. Like she must have brave, because she basically has to drop out of school, she has to learn how to cook, she carries a lot, the burden on her shoulder, and she still remains kind. I guess she's kind of like I don't call her a foil necessarily, but she still, you know, believes the goodness of people and all that. And he, you know, going through the war, he believes that human beings are horrible, selfish, just like him, and so he carries that mentality, and that's how he's able to treat other people like that. And even I guess we see how the Hunger Games become sensationalized, and how obviously it's a spectacle, and that's why people pay attention to it. Although again, wasn't that kind of already mentioned in the first, I don't know, in the previous trilogy, even though that comes first. Yeah, it's just a hypocrite and an annoying character to follow, and I did not enjoy the book. And honestly, I think I'm sad that the vlog ended on this. I kind of wish I read this first, because I really enjoyed the books. Like I enjoyed the previous trilogy and all that he had to say, but here I didn't really get anything new from what I read. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy Snow's story, and honestly, if you've not read it, I think I can recommend you kind of skip. I don't think you really do anything new for you, to be honest. And so yeah, we've come to the end of my Hunger Games trilogy. I enjoyed all three. Well, okay, I did enjoy the prequel, so we're just going to cut that. Should I give it a ranking? I don't know. I guess. Ooh, I think. You know what? I actually think I like the first book the best. I think I would rank maybe in order of literally one. The first book be my favorite, then the second, then the third. Yes, I think in the first book, being introduced to this new world and Katniss, and it was just so like I couldn't stop reading. I think I stayed up till I couldn't stop reading. Like it was so fast paced and engaging. The second book too was good, but just the magic of the first book, can't beat it. But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed it. I think if you haven't read, I think you should still give them a read. I definitely think that they're worth your time. And yeah, the prequel, I think you can skip it, to be honest. I don't think, yeah, this is like a 2-star read for me, which is shocking because I did think that there's a world where I would give it, but yeah, it really wasn't. It wasn't it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this was somewhat interesting for you, and I guess I'll see you next time. This is my first reading vlog, and I hope to do more of these. Okay, bye.